And we're back. Part, who knows? Whatever. Anyway, so going into subjects, I believe camouflage. Thank you for your support. Like, share, subscribe. Contact me if you want sessions and help with camouflage and other topics that we can expand into. Psionically. I love nature. So, let's go into camouflage. So, we got, back on what we were previously with, is that you exist on many different layers of expression, and something would be using a sense of some type of energetic expression to see you. Start whittling away at its ability to see and perceive you in that bandwidth, either by camouflaging those particular bodies, or if it's really advanced and can see multiple perceptions, every perception layer of energy it has on you, dreaming, astral, etheric, mental, emotional, fire, air, ether, void, darkness, energy, whatever they're using that has you possibly have a energetic body for of experience. They don't need to know where they are. They don't need to see them. You can be fortressed up in that. So, yeah. Finding a way to limit their ability to perceive you. And besides, if there's tags, like internally or something, that keeps giving off your location, and so they can keep finding you, like, oh, I don't see them, but my tag's here, it must be still there. And then they take a jab or something. It's like low awareness, but still able to hit the mark sometimes. Sometimes you can even make it so advanced in Psionic that anything that they emit at you, even if they know your location, passes right through you, doesn't affect you whatsoever. It's like a subtle change in your electron shell cloud ratio of spin and probability for absorption. It's really understanding the electron exists everywhere. It's a hologram, and setting it to the setting where that particular energy doesn't harm you or touch you, or if you're having some type of psychic keto, you could make a reflective thing back to them. It depends on it if that isn't within them just wanting to find you and have a feedback to tell if you're actually there. So it depends on how advanced it is. So another thing, fractals of consciousness, up and down in their capability, going back to source. Everything goes back to source, even bad guys. Everyone is a branch, unless they're like a non-sentience or artificial sentience or artificial intelligence. They can be seen as a branch in a way that like goes back to when they were created, how they were created, what universe were they created, galaxy, all the space of location, a location in space-time, and that can be seen as well as they're agreeing to your rules by entangling with you and trying to find you and monitor you, and you can make beings that are viewing you say that in equity. So bugs out here, man. Okay. So seeing that shadow of source and disentangling from those branches of source that don't agree with the peace, neutral, so figuring out how many branches of source you have beef with, as they come in many forms of expression throughout the multiverse and galaxy and down to the solar system of drama and all the realms, etc. on this planet. So let's see. Seeing how many are waging war inside you, external and internal, and how many are connecting to you under the guise of being your source. Going into disentangling from all other sources but you can still have a collective. All tags and technologies acting to bypass camouflage is a big thing that you can search for in yourself. You might not be able to see everything. As you train up, you'll be able to see more and more and more until you stop finding things. Internal apex predators, or just regular predators of different types and negative entities. Your gut, brain, the intestines, the decay, and the shit is a signature frequency match for negative energy. So it can mostly be where the negative things inside interact, as they also will try to connect and branch into more inside of you in negative frequencies, toxins, etc. So dealing with that, because internal stuff, if something's anchored to you, trying to perceive the understanding of what it would be like if something inside of you suddenly wasn't able to perceive you entirely. If it's parasitic physically, it's going to be hard to do that with, so you might as well just take detoxing equipment to get it out of your system, and anything that's anchored to it negatively as a negative consciousness to the parasite, which often happens. If it's energetic, it does not have a physical anchor to you and can be released as long as you understand where it's going, connecting that to a safe place so it isn't just attached to any random person or come back to you, or know where you are, or if you can get in a resolution process, that'd be great, like the galactic central sun. It's good. And understanding that you can become invisible to something attached to you, perceiving that as ability and getting better at it, slowly making your entire body invisible to it, starting with different parts of it, functions, nervous systems, organs, until whatever it's choosing to make its last stand of attached to in your body, and that becomes invisible to it, and then it can't, and make it unable to be connecting to your field, so that it's forced out of interacting with you as a signature frequency match. And if you can even go beyond that in depth, if it's trying to keep tracking you down, resolve any need for it back in time to know who you are, which I can do, and if anyone needs help with that, I can help you. To help more camouflage, camouflage items. Sometimes we'll have these in our inventory already in our hearts. You can check. Sometimes it's stored other organs, depends on what it's for. You can ask your higher self, you can ask for the number. I'll teach you how to access the inventory, and we see what's in there that helps camouflage is the goal. And listing, getting it listed before you, and then start going through all the perceptions of what type of thing can be, so it's easier to translate and come to you. Camouflage energy constructs. So camouflage items can be shields, filters, things people have made and traded back and forward in time, like a shroud that makes them invisible, or a hat or armor or clothes, or some type of socks, lucky socks, or whatever people have made that then they pass down to themselves in future lives, as well as sometimes we make them this life as kids, especially we're really creative, or they could be in one bandwidth of expression, not entirely. Your don't expect to have one of these objects and put it on and you suddenly physically become invisible, unless it's really rare and you're not a normal person. And there's usually more than just doing that you'd have to do with whatever method you're using to physically become invisible. Because there are ways, and people have done it. Easiest way is changing the perception of the beings viewing you so they can't perceive you at all. And it's like frequencies in your head. Sometimes we don't perceive something in our reality, and then it just shows up and it's like, whoa, where did you come from? Even bigger examples. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. I'll continue with this in a bit.